Hey everybody, Crazy Cosmo here, coming back at you with episode 15 of Why Was It Cancelled? Today we're going to talk about Dead Like Me. No warning in advance, today is going to be a little bit different than my other videos because some of it's going to fall into the realm of speculation even more so than I usually do. And the reason for that is that a lot of the information I would use to form a picture of why a show was canceled is just simply not available in the case of Dead Like Me. For example, Showtime for some reason decided never to release the weekly ratings of Dead Like Me's viewership. Meaning that the only real direction we have to find out what kind of viewership and popularity the show had was a quote from one of the executives stating that Dead Like Me was regularly pulling in viewership 3 times the average of their normal primetime viewers. Now, the problem with all of this is it flies directly in the face of the ostensible reason why the show was canceled, which was that studio executives at Showtime stated a lack of quality and fears that the problems would continue. However, as always, when I find 2 bits of conflicting information, I always dig a little bit deeper to try and find out if I can see what I believe the problem to be. And I think if you go back to the production of the show itself, you can start to figure out where the problems came in. You see, when Bryan Fuller pitched Dead Like Me to Showtime back in 2003, it was a very different show than the one we ended up getting. The original concept would have had every single soul creating an entire deathscape of their preferred memory of what death was going to be by their happiest thoughts and memories of it, which would have been extremely expensive on a weekly episode. There was also an entire mythology about the Gravelings being described as Bryan Fuller put it, the Rube Goldbergs of death, constantly creating traps to make sure that people stayed on their prescribed path. However, once the series was greenlit, creative changes and budgetary restrictions systematically pared away every single one of those larger concepts until the Dead Like Me that we saw on Showtime slowly began to emerge. And backstage creative arguments between Bryan Fuller and the network got so heated that Fuller actually ended up leaving the show after episode 5 of season 1. Meaning that of the entire 29 episodes that were produced, only 5 of them were overseen by its original creator, leaving the network free to strip away all remaining remnants of the original and quirky show that Bryan Fuller had originally created. Now, don't get me wrong, Dead Like Me was still a pretty fun show, but I like the original concepts that were created by Bryan Fuller and the larger stories he was intending to tell. I don't believe that this version of Dead Like Me ever really got out of the gate when it came to that larger story and larger message. But hey, that's just me. So, why was it canceled? Well, I think it was canceled because Showtime executives just simply didn't like the show they were actually pitched and couldn't get it to be the one they actually wanted. Crazy Cosmo, signing off.